Did you ever wonder what it takes to be successful in the real estate market? Well, we're going to talk to Sherry McCormack. Sherry McCormack is a 20-year veteran in the real estate market, and she's going to share her tips to success and how she works not only with buyers, but also with sellers and vice versa. Don't miss it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, ring that bell to get more subscriptions from Field One Post. You're going to love this video. Let's get started.
Really insightful.
The hardest working person in the industry.
She's very caring and very people-centered.
So when I need to know something, I call Sherry.
So who I am, Sherry McCormack with happyhome123.com. I work for Long & Foster Real Estate out of Westchester, Pennsylvania.
And how long have you been doing real estate?
Well, let's see. I started way back in more than 20 years ago. But I've been on the technology side of real estate for most of that time, and I've been at this particular Long & Foster for the past 4 years.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and do you primarily work out of, where do you work out of primarily?
Well, our office is in Westchester. However, I do cover the 5-county Philadelphia metro area and have listings and buyers and sellers throughout that area. And of course, my concentration is going to be more closely to where I live and where I work, which would be Great Valley School District and Westchester.
It's not just about Sherry. It's really about how she can help people.
She's always offered great advice and helped me out, even though she knows I'm not planning on selling.
She can really handhold any buyer or seller if they're new to this, as well as to the novice or the intermediate, all the way up to the serious investor. She knows what's important to each level and will cater her skills and what tools she's got to pull out of the box to help that particular person or group of people.
If you do not have a good background and specifically a network of other realtors that you can connect to in order to get every question answered, you're going to be behind the 8 ball and you're going to really not do as good a job for your client. It makes a huge difference. So I've spent 20 years of my career just developing relationships with most of the brokers and the companies and the agents in this area. So anytime I come across a problem, I don't ask just one person. I actually go over and ask 3 different people and get the best answers for my clients, because it's a matter of doing the best job you can.
Yeah, it sounds like having 20 years building a lot of relationships with a lot of people, not only in the real estate industry, but customers that move and so on and so forth.
As a business owner, I've learned from Sherry how important it is to make connections with the people that you work with, whether they're customers or not. Sherry is all about giving back, promoting collaborations, connections, and I love that about her.
Giving to just give and creating relationships.
Sherry brings years of experience to the table, helping her clients buy and sell real estate.
She is quite the sharp individual, has a huge number of tools in her toolbox, and consequently was able to guide us where we needed guidance, able to just feed us information where we needed information. And consequently, we basically had a very smooth process, notwithstanding the seller's behavior. So just a joy to work with, So
if I were to say to you, why do you do real estate? What would you say?
Well, the biggest reason why I do real estate is I've spent so many years studying this industry from the top down, working with companies all across the country. I've developed a tremendous amount of expertise, especially in technology and in developing relationships. So the why is I want to give back to my community. I want to build strong relationships, and I want to connect businesses to one another and to clients. It's just so important to me to be of service to my community. And we live that out every day. My husband and I, he's been a scoutmaster for over 20 years. It's all been about, providing something for the next generation. So building community is the heart of everything that I do.
She looks at everything. It's not transactional to her. It's really about the relationship.
She is an avid customer of mine and a huge proponent for me personally and for my business.
She's a mentor. She's fabulous with her knowledge about real estate and the areas that she works in.
She is forever connected. I think she does the realtor part of it is just the fun part of getting people connected and really enjoys just the whole community after that.
I think what's really kind of interesting is you have this knack for paying it forward. So in that thinking, let's talk about some tips that you may have for people who are looking to sell their home. Because if you don't know this, it's 2021, it's March 1st, 2021, and there's a major inventory problem with houses being able to be sold. So what sort of tips do you have for people that are thinking about selling their home or maybe don't think this is the right time?
Well, the first thing that you need to know is that this is probably the best time to sell a house because you're going to get the most money for it. However, on the flip side of that is like, well, so how do I find the house? And you're always like, okay, so you're standing on two rocks and you want to continue across the brook, but you have to take 1 foot off of one to go to the other. Right. So the difficulty people have is they think, well, I'll find the house first. Well, if you need the equity from your first house to buy the second one, that might be a problem because you're not going to be paying for 2 mortgages.
Right.
So actually, in this particular market, selling your house first is better to have cash than you're a cash buyer. Then you have more cards to negotiate with when you get down to that negotiation. So what I try to do is help my clients be in the best position possible when it comes to negotiation. So what I recommend, number one, is if you feel like you need the equity from your house to buy a new house, get a home equity loan a minimum of 1 year before the time you're going to be making that move and applying for a mortgage. It's really important in case you have last minute things to do or things to fix up or issues that come up. Now you can access that equity. You can also access it to make a down payment on the next house. The next thing I do is I actually highly encourage you to get a home inspection. By doing that, you'll know exactly the important things to put your money into to make it the most saleable. Because there's things that have changed in the codes that have happened in your township that now you have to comply with. And most people don't find those out till the week before closing. And now they have all this money to put in their house, which they didn't expect. The other thing are going to be things that you wouldn't know are getting to the end of their useful life. So some of your appliances or your roofing or maybe your septic system. So having a licensed inspector come and do that is really important. And I just take it a next step further is I actually submit that instead of a seller's disclosure when it comes time to sell the house. Because you have now had it professionally inspected and you have the right as a home seller to defer to a higher authority. And then now when you get your contracts from a buyer, who's also going to do an inspection, I highly encourage them to do so. Right. You can say to them, that's great, you can do your home inspection. However, you will not be reducing this price based on your inspection because you had the information before you ever made the offer. So it's a way to protect the consumer or the person who's buying the house so they have full disclosure. It's a way to protect the seller who's selling the house so they don't have surprises through that whole process. And that's really where I would say the biggest friction point in selling a house is the disappointment of getting that great offer and I'm so happy. And then the buyer does their inspection and they want this and they want this and they want this and they want this. And it's really depressing. And then after you finish that, like, all right, I'm done. And then now the township comes in and, oh my God, you have to do this and this and this. And everybody's just biting their tongue. Well, you know what? I just think it's a dereliction of duty if you don't pre-frame and help your client take care of that beforehand, because you have plenty of time beforehand. So it's about getting yourself positioned to make that sale easy, to get the most amount of money you can out of your house. And then at the end of it, not have to worry about a lawsuit afterwards, because if you completely fill out that seller's disclosure the way every realtor will tell you, instead of putting in the home inspection, that's what they end up using to sue you because you said it was this and I thought it was that, and therefore we're going to go to court. And I just don't like dealing with that, and I don't think my clients should have to deal with that. So let's let everybody be informed.
Right, and it's interesting that your husband is a scoutmaster because the motto is "Be prepared." Right, so
exactly,
you're prepared.
She basically handheld the selling agent through the process, doing probably half of her work, if not more than half of her work, and doing a lot of the follow-up. Again, sharp cookie. She recognized the problem and fixed it.
I think Sherry works for the buyer as well as the seller because she wants the process to go smoothly. She wants settlement to be not stressful. And she really cares about the buyer and the seller. She cares about the person that she's working with.
That way, homeownership can be a blessing instead of a noose around the neck.
I actually coach and train the agents who show the house. I call them up,
That's what I was
through it. I give them additional information. I provide them the township plan. I like all the research that they have to do. I do all of that ahead of time and hand it to them and go over it with them so that they can sell the house better.
Right. And so you're kind of reaching across the table to say, I'm helping my client, so I'm going to help you, because if you screw it up, then it's screwed up for my client. And that's sort of an extra thing. Do most agents do that?
I don't know of any agents that do that, like that.
I don't either.
Go to that length. And the reason, that's the whole reason I do business by referral only. I don't do work with people that I don't know. Everything is referred to me. Why? Because instead of going out after a cold lead of somebody I don't know, I can spend all my time, my energy, and my money helping people be in the best position possible and have the best experience possible when they go to sell their house.
Sherry's able to help people with their expectations and the different things that you need to do beforehand. If you're selling your house, right, making sure that you've got all the house all fixed up so you'll get the best selling price.
She knows about tax structuring. She knows about, from the district office, what forms you need. She just has all this great information, not only about selling your home, but about the community. So she's knowledgeable in so many different ways.
She's opened up a set of skills in the realtors industry, some computer-based, some just, pounding the pavement based, some just knowing people at higher levels in the industry than the average realtor, that made her and gave her access to things that just made her ability to make transactions, to get to the right people, to get the right information way easier and way more thorough than any realtor I've ever met. And I've worked with some really good ones. She's got, her toolkit is so much bigger, so much better.
So how do you get yourself out there? What sort of marketing tips do you have?
Well, the marketing is actually be a person, you know what I mean? And connect on a heart level, not on a commission breath level, because everybody sees it when you are coming with that, right?
Right.
So it's all about just getting to know people and appreciating them and really sharing the love. I think my Bible is called The Go-Giver. It's a book that has been just amazing and has been amazing to my life, as any industry. It's all about giving first and helping other people be successful. If you help enough other people get what they want, the universe is going to turn right around and get you what you want and you need. Yeah. And with that understanding, it just makes relationship building so much fun, because it's not prospecting, it's not cold calling, it's meeting people, right, and actually appreciating and getting to know them.
If I had to buy or sell a home, I would definitely call Sherry. I've told Sherry that I'm not interested in moving for many, many years. However, she's always offered great advice and helped me out, even though she knows I'm not planning on selling.
Getting to a good realtor, Sherry being the best, as early as possible, even before selling or before the decision to sell or buy, I think is key, because then you have many more options at your disposal.
What is the best way for somebody who's watching this video, somebody to reach out to you for advice?
Well, the best way would be to connect with me through my website at happyhome123.com, or connect with me on Facebook, which is Sherry McCormack 123, and we'll connect there, or just give me a quick call at 610-656-4063.
It takes a lot of guts to put your phone number out on the internet, so there you go.
It's out there. Yeah. You know what? Real estate agents, they can't hide. So You know what? I might as well just give it to you. Right?
Right. Sherry, I really appreciate we could get together today. I know you're a busy person. I'm a busy person. But I thought this was a really important topic to have, because there's so many real estate agents out there, and I know a lot of them, but there are only a few who actually are more interested in the relationships they have with their customers versus just the commission. And there's only a few that understand that it's not a sprint, that it's a marathon. Your relationships, I'm sure, span many, many, many years. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Jonathan.
So there you have it. Everything you need to know to be successful in the real estate market from a real estate market veteran, Sherry McCormack. If you liked what you saw, Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get more notifications from Field One Post. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on the next Spotlight video.